So, ladies and gentlemen, it's 4 o'clock in Latvia and 3 o'clock in Amsterdam, and late evening in Indonesia. So, but we can start. And as we promised before, there is a first question from Nishant. Maybe you can, Nishant, announce your question yourself. Nishant?
Yeah. First of all, hi to both of you. And my question was, it's like when we go for, when we aim to qualify some big tournaments like All England, World Championships, and Olympics, so those kind of tournaments. So how to do the smart plans? Because sometimes we make a plan, sometimes it we get success and sometimes we don't. So how can be one of the way where we can strategically plan something smarter?
Okay, Christian, you want me to answer that question? Christian, I cannot hear you.
Sorry, yes, I was muted. Yes, sorry.
Yeah, you want me to answer that question first?
Yes, yes, as we promised for.
Okay, good. Then we start, and I share my screen now at the moment. So you see the topic of today. First, we have the question of Nishant and the answer, and then we go on personality and coaching. If you want to aim for a certain target that has to do with planning, and what we did in the first seminar 2 weeks ago. So in fact, the question is how to choose tournaments to reach a goal. And I picked the example Nishant was also asking. He said, if we want to qualify for the All England, so what do we need to do then? So let's just give an example. The start situation is over here. We've got a player A. His world ranking is 200, around 200 in the world. And the goal is to take part in the All England. So you can imagine he's quite far away from to reach his goal. If we look at the what we call at the moment the frozen world ranking mid-April 2020, and if you look in there, you see over here that part of the world ranking around 200 in the world. You see over here that the average points over there is around 810 points. The average, it's the average of the 10 best results. You see over here, it's 12 tournaments in this one, 12, 17 over there. But the number of points over here is the sum of the best 10 results. So the average is around 810. On exactly 200, you see over here a guy from Brasilia, and of course he has just 5 events, but probably his when he has 10 events, he will become much higher in the world ranking. So again, the average around 200 is 810 points for those players. So if you want to go to the All England, and then over here you see the All England in the calendar. It's a BWF World Tour Super 1000. So that means that you've got at least $1 million prize money, and it's one of the highest levels in what we have in the World Tour. It's part of the BWF World Tour. It's grade 2, level 2, and you have to go to the statutes of the BWF, the tournament regulations, to see what it is. And then you also see that you have 32 players in the main draw of the men's singles, and there is no qualifying draw. So that means that you have to be at least among those 32 players to take part in the All England. Then I always take into account there are some players injured, they are sick, some of them are not selecting to play the tournament. So let's see that we get to top 36 in men's singles will take part. And then we look again in the world ranking, and then we see 36, 35. That's around 3,600 points. And this is 3,500, a little bit more than 3,600. So if you want to be around the top 36 in the world, you must have at least an average of 3,600 points. And we saw already that with our player in our example, at the moment he has 810 points. So he has to go from 810 to 3,600. Okay, how can we do that? Has to go from 810 to 3,600 in the best 10 results in 52 weeks. So then you make just a graph and say, okay, we are now over here, somewhere in the beginning of 2020. And let's try to get at the All England in March 23. So that's in 3 years' time. So we say, okay, then we should go from 810 to 3,500, 3,600. If we have over here on the 1st of January, 3,500, hopefully we will have 3,600 in March. And then you just make a graph. Okay, so it's coming up, coming up, coming up from an average of 810 to 1250, 1750, 2850, 3300. And you see over here, it's a little bit slower going up than over here. Coming closer to the best players in the world, then you are not gaining that fast points anymore. So that's why I always calculate with, in this phase, a little bit slower, getting more points. And then if you look in the table of world ranking points, and again over here we've got 810, 1250, 1750, 2300, 2850, 3300, and so on. And you see where you can get those points. If you see 810, then you must be at least, let's say, in the second round of an international challenge, last 16 in an international series. For 1,250 points, you need to be second round, level 6, grade 2, best 16 in international challenge, quarterfinals in the international series. And for all those numbers, you can see what kind of results you have to come to that average of, in this case, 1,750, in this case, 3,300. So now you know at least what kind of results you have to gain. And again, we see over here the same graph coming up from 810 till 3,500 over here. And then you see, okay, if I need to have on the 1st of July 1,250 points, then I have to go to international series, international challenge, reach at least the last 16. And over here, I need to at least in the international series a quarterfinal. And that's exactly what you see over here as well. So from this table of the world ranking system, you go to this one, and you can see exactly in what kind of period you need to have what kind of results. Over here, for instance, semi-final international series, semi-final international challenge, final international challenge, quarterfinal level 6, final international challenge, semi-final level 6. And over here, it should be even better. So in this way, we can make a plan for our players in 3 years' time, at least a plan on results. And we saw 2 weeks ago that we have product targets and process targets. The product targets are the results. So we know now exactly what somebody needs to get in tournaments, what kind of results, in what kind of tournaments he has to achieve to come from 810 till 3,500, 3,600. Nissan, is this answering your question?
Yes.
Okay.
And Martin, maybe somebody else have some odds or also comments or questions about this topic, or we can go forward.
Yeah. Okay. Then we go to the next subject of this seminar, personality and coaching, what I call a mental approach. Yeah, I think this is I hope to give you at least some practical guidelines based on my own practical experience. Of course, it's underpinned by science, but at least it's practical and underpinned by science, and I hope you can apply it immediately. If you want to know more about what I'm going to tell you, then and if you want to have more reading on background studies, then go on the internet and look for these two type of things: the Young Talent Development Indicator and the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator. If you type that in Google, immediately you will see a lot of articles and graphs and things like that, where you can find far more information on what I'm going to discuss now. If we look at the BWF courses at the moment, there is not so much on personality in level 1. We are talking about learning styles, and the ones who did level 1, they recognize this, I think. You've got kinesthetic learning, and auditory learning, and visual learning. So kinesthetic is more doing and practical. Auditory is verbal and by explanation, and visual is by seeing and demonstration. Though, in fact, that's the only thing what we see in the BWF level 1 course. If we go to the level 2 course, there's at least some more information about it. But again, it's only on learning styles. And you've got over there the reflector, the theorist, the pragmatist, and the activist. And of course, you can read him. A reflector likes to learn from activities that allow them to observe, consider, and review. The theorist likes to learn by thinking. The pragmatist likes to learn new things and apply them to deal with in particular situations. And the activist likes new challenges. And more or less, that's it. From my point of view, that's not enough if you want to coach your players, because I think we as coaches are very, very good in the green areas, on technical, tactical, and physical coaching. There's a lot of literature about it, but the hours we spend on learning mental things is quite small. Again, going back to level 1 and level 2 of the BWF courses, BWF, I think it's the manual, it's 260 pages, and just 1 page is spent on learning styles. So the mental part is not that big, and I think it should be far more bigger, because personality is the result of what you think what you do, what you see, what you understand, how you act, how you decide, what you remember, and how you communicate. And I think it's completely unique for every person. Nobody is exactly the same. And it's the result of genetic sources, the way your parents, your grandparents, but it's also the result of your education. And what we do as coaches is trying to influence that behavior, to change it. So in fact, what we try to do, we try to influence the personality. And players are showing personality in their behavior. So I think you can see that in 4 different ways. The way they are motivated, motivated to playing matches, motivated to practice, the way they see and experience the on-court situation. So that's what I think is what we can call tactical awareness, and the way they decide how to act on what they see. So they see something and then they act. So they have some kind of playing style. And then there is also a preference for every player. Are they doing that controlled, or are they doing it on impulse? So is it controlled and really thought over, so that what a player is doing is, let's say, already planned by him? Or is it on impulse? So I just think, okay, this is the best thing to do now. So behavior and behavior, I think, is expressed in 4 different ways, as I showed it on this slide. And then I see there are, for match motivation, you've got 2 types. One type is extrovert, and the other type is introverted. And the extrovert type is first doing and then thinking. This player needs a lot of variation. He needs new exercises. He needs a lot of attention. He or she is feeling very nice when rewarded on success. So if I, as a coach, is praising him after a very good smash, he feels very, very good. And he likes to advise other people as well. So he's not quiet. He is always speaking. You hear him in the practice. You hear him in the court. And he is giving advice to others, also to you as a coach, and maybe to his other players as well. Then the introverted player is first thinking and then doing. So he's not starting immediately, okay, I need to do this, and up we go. No, first thinks over and is then doing it. He wants to have step-by-step exercises. He likes individual practice. And he likes to be rewarded on execution, not on the result, but on how he's doing things. So the extrovert person is more, let's say, a product target person, and the introverted person is more a process target person. And also the introverted person is more quiet. He listens to other players. And if we talk on tactical awareness, then you've got a player who is sensing it, using his senses, and do it step by step based on results, likes to start with known skills and situations. And the other player is more different, and he wants to follow his own idea, and it's not going step by step. And he wants to start as quickly as possible with new skills, and wants to have changes so that he can try out. If you talk about playing style, then you've got the difference between somebody who is thinking and somebody who is feeling. So the one who is thinking is trying to use new skills in a logical way, wants to be organized, is analyzing and is hard working to solutions. And the one who has more a feeling playing style is using new skills in a problem solving way. But he has in his mind his own qualities, and he will never go over it. New skills will only be used when the result is better. Then we come to the approach of matches and practice. You've got a judging and a perceiving player. The judging player wants to have a fixed structure, wants to have an organized match plan or a practice plan, and likes consistency. The perceiving player wants to try out, is open for solutions, and is more acting on impulse. And of course, we have all those different type of players most of the time in the same group. If we have the individual training, then it's more easier. But most of us are practicing with a group of players, and then you have different type of players. And I think that you need to learn how your players are, but you also need to learn yourself. Because if yourself are very extrovert, then it could be conflicting your introverted players. If you are a more intuition guy, then it could conflict with sensing players. So it's very important that you learn yourself how you are. And then you need to adapt your coaching style to the players you have. So if you have a lot of extroverted players, you need also to be yourself more or less extroverted. Maybe you're not, from your personality, you're not an extrovert person, but then you need to learn that. You need to adapt your coaching style to suit your players. And if we go then to the practical consequences, and this is the advice I would give you, and the advice I had for myself always with me when I was coaching players. Extrovert players, in practice, short instructions, more doing. Pre-match coaching, a simple match plan. This guy wants to be the leader. So in doubles, most of the time he is the leader. Coaching in the break. Praise points made. So be very positive on a good drop shot, a good smash, or a double motion at the net. But also stick to the match plan. That's what he wants. You designed a simple match plan together with him in the pre-match coaching, and you want him to stick to that match plan in the break. After the match, post-match coaching, ask for comments because he wants to express himself. So ask him or she for comments. Praise success, overthink mistakes. But start with this one. Ask for comments. Automatically, this will come. Introverted players, they need more information. So no short instructions. A lot of instructions sometimes, even more than you want to give. Pre-match coaching, give possibilities. So not only a simple match plan, but more possibilities. In the break, this player will follow the leader. It can be his double partner. It can be also you as a coach. So he will follow and give him confidence. Post-match coaching, analyzing. Then we go to the sensing players and the intuition players. And this is what you see in BWF level 1 course, chaining. So if you want to learn him something, do it part by part and connect part by part of skills to make it the whole part. If you go for pre-match coaching, give him 1 or 2 variations on his existing playing style. So don't come with complete different things, but make 1 or 2 variations, known variation on his existing playing style. In the break, focus on 1 variation. Don't go for both of them. If you give 2 over here, go for 1 over here. So you have to choose as a coach. In the post-match coaching, focus on deviation of standard playing styles. So where did it go wrong? Where did it go wrong? Intuition, shaping. So you give in practice the whole skill, and they just want to do it. They just do it, and then you start to correct them. Pre-match coaching. Give possibility to make variations as well. More or less the same over here, but it's over here it's more, because they like to act on impulse. So give him a lot of variations and possibilities to vary. In the break, allow those variations. With these type of players, it's very difficult to say you should not do this or you should not do that. No, encourage the variation because that's what they like. But in the post-match coaching, then you have to evaluate with him or her what was effective. Thinking players and feeling players. In practice, thinking players, logical working. So they want to have exercises on time with so many repetitions, with so many corners. And now we do the same exercise from the forehand corner, the same exercise from the backhand corner. So it's really logical. Pre-match coaching, you have to tell them exact what to do in what situation. So don't go for variations, go for this is what you need to do, that's what you need to do. In the break, give advice on 1 or maybe 2 situations, very short. And of course, it should be a situation mentioned over here. So in this kind of situation, you give advice on 1 or 2 of this one. And in the post-match coaching, analyze these situations. What happened exactly? The ones who are more feeling. New skills in practice, they have to work. So if they learn something, if they want to learn something, the result should be immediately there. If not, they won't practice very good. With them, agree on a match plan. So you can ask for a match plan. You can by yourself come up with a match plan, but in the pre-match coaching, always try to agree. Okay, the conclusion is this and this is what we are going to do. In the break, you discuss with him the match plan, the agreed match plan over here. And of course, after the match, post-match coaching, you evaluate the match plan. Was it okay? Was it not okay? Did we have a good result with this plan, or did we have to go to another plan? Then we come to the judging and perceiving players. This one wants to be organized, very, very organized. In the pre-match coaching, he wants to know exactly what to do. In the break, stick to the plan, stick to exactly what you want to do, maybe one variation. But that's very, for this one, these kind of players, it's very difficult to come up with one variation. So I would be very careful with these type of players to come up with one variation. It's better for him to stick to the plan. At the end, evaluate what, when, and how to change, if you want to change something. So you decided exactly what to do, you stick to the plan. So what did we do? When did we do it? How are we doing it? And do we want to change it if necessary? Perceiving players, less instruction in practice. Leave space for experimenting. It's also more or less the extroverted player. They want to go on court and want to find out themselves. Pre-match coaching, if you give them more space for experimenting, the whole match will be, let's say, a mess. So you have to give them one or two standard situations. For instance, in singles, serving men's singles, serving from the right side, serve always to the center short or to the center in the back. Standard situation. Then in the break, okay, accept variations because they want to experiment, but come back to those one or two standards. Post-match evaluation, evaluate if they were successful, if the variations were successful or non-successful. Okay, now we have seen different types of players. And what I'm showing over here is personality. Players are showing personality in their behavior, but no player fits exactly in one box. So you never have a player who is only extrovert. But there is, in a match motivation, there's a preference for players. Some of them are more extrovert than introverted. Exactly with tactical awareness. Some of them are more sensing or more an intuition. Some of them are more thinking or more feeling. Some of them are more judging or more perceiving. So you can have a lot of combinations over here. And for you as a coach, it's really important to know how players in these type of behaviors are, to give them in matches the right advice how to react. So you have to coach them in a very, let's say, personal way. And in practice, it's important to know how your players are, to give them the right advices to learn new skills or to improve their skills. I have tried to get this down in simple and short words for practice pre-match coaching in the break and post-match coaching. And as you know, we will send this PDF to all of you who are participating, and you can read it because it's a lot of words, of course, at the moment. But I also will advise you, coming back to this one, if you want to know more about personality and coaching, try to look for these type of things on the internet. That's it for now. Thank you. Any questions?
Yes, and not only questions, maybe some of you have also some comments, and you can also ask questions in YouTube channel, because there is some spectators also there. And for me, especially, I want to ask once more also comments, because I know there is a lot of experienced coaches, and your comment is also very necessary there. I promise special award for the questions. Most interesting question before. So,
hello, this is Yvette here.
Yes, we hear you.
Hello, I have a question for Martin, please. I know you have a lot of experience coaching with the senior and the top player. And I found it's a little bit, and a lot of players, a mixture, introvert or extrovert. And also sometimes the behavior can be changed from a willing or either loose. Some people might be more open up when they're willing to analyze, to discuss it. And some people might be a bit more closer for the losing matches because they don't want to analyze it. They don't want to know about it because they want to get on with it. They want to keep the positiveness, which is, I found, is a complete difference with the Asian way approach. The Asian way approach is that when you're winning, obviously, and you're doing more things right. So then you need to analyze. And also we normally do even more analyze when you're losing it. And you need to find out why you're losing, how you lose, when it go wrong. And hopefully those things is not repeat again. But I found that it's harder when you coach a European player. So they tend to be like to stay in the positive rather than remember that sort of things goes wrong. What you sort of experience, and when it's easier when you give the debriefing for analyzing and when everything's going right, and it's harder when the athletes are facing at a setback or they had a little bit more troubles, and then sometimes either they found the turning corner points or trigger points can solve the whole issue in the one go.
Yeah, but Yvette, the thing is that I don't see a very big difference in the way that you need to analyze after matches and find out what mistakes are made and what players did well and what did they do wrong and things like that. But I think it's important that we as coaches, we need to know what the personality of players is to approach them in a way that they open up. To give an example, if a player is very introvert and I go to him and be quite aggressive and starts to tell him, and you did this wrong and that was wrong and you have to do this and you have to do that, then you know that a player is not opening up. if a player is very logical thinking, then we as a coach should not go to him and say, at that point you did it like this, and over there you did it like that, and in the third game you did so, and then in the first game you did this and this and this. Then we really need to go from, let's say, from the first point until the last point. Then players, they are feeling comfortable in how you discuss with them the complete match. So what I learned was that I needed to talk to players in a complete different way, based on their personality. And especially this was, I think, for me, very difficult when we were analyzing doubles in the end. Because, you want to put players together in the double who can, let's say, communicate very good with each other. An extrovert player could be a leader, and an introvert player could be more following. But then you come until after the doubles head, and they sit down over there, and you have to approach them in a different way. So what I did most of the time was make the post-match coaching quite short. But then after that, I took those players apart and tried to find out and come to the same conclusions in a different way with different players. But for me, it was really, really important to learn what kind of personality players had, how they were acting, how they were thinking, how they were remembering the match. I think all of us, we had the experience that and again, an example, hey, you had to play more drop shots, and then the player is telling you, hey, but I made a lot of drop shots. And then you look back in video and I made 2 drop shots in the whole match, something like that.
Yeah.
So that's also what you need to learn with your players.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with it. In UK, we had a personality sort of assessment for the players, and also staff member as well. So and also that you understand. Some people more reflector, thinking, some people more impulse or taking actions or a bit of rushing it, and also some of the words is the person or how to approach, how to speak to them, that make them feel better.
Yeah.
And that's just, again, when you come to especially when you're coaching the senior and especially the high level players. So. And that's a crucial part as well, because that technically, tactically, they're not going to be changing much.
Yes, you're right. But I also think already on a younger age, with young players, if you know their preferences, if you know more or less how their personalities are, it's easier to approach them. It's easier to learn them skills, and they feel more comfortable in learning that way if you approach them the way they like it. And with like is not that you always have to be friendly or whatever, but the way they learn the best new skills, the way they how they feel the best in practice situation. Because if they feel well in practice situations, they also feel well in match situations, and we can avoid already a lot of mental problems if we start to do this.
Yeah, no, I agree, especially when you're coaching younger ones. It's much easier because you can learn, and they can understand or you approach. And also because when you see the younger players, that you're often dealing with their parents as well. So normally you can get some bit more background of the kids, what they're like, you know. It's give you, but when the adults pretty much is because they are sort of they're breaking with their parents, and then you're dealing with them face to face, and also sometimes they're not really open up. So, and obviously it is harder.
Yeah, you're right.
In the short period of time to getting to know each other as well. Good, thank you.
Okay.
Martin, I have questions from our chat. Do you actively test your players for personality types? And if so, at what age do you start? Question from Donald Wells.
Yeah. Yes, I did in the past. But it's if you go what I said, that on the internet, and you go for the Young Talent Development Indicator, you can find something over there about how to test and what kind of things you can use. But in the end, you get more or less experience, and you're not going to test everybody. Because you start to learn and you start to recognize types of players and how they think and how they act. Not if you are working with them, let's say 2 or 3 hours in a week, but if you see them every day, then yes, I think if you have this background on personality, that you start to recognize how players are doing and how are they acting.
Okay, there is one more question from our chat. Do extroverts make the best coaches?
No, I don't think so.
The question from Savas.
No, I don't think so. I think that coaches need to learn how their own personality is. And they know they need to learn how to use their personality in a right way. And like I said, they have to, if necessary, adapt their coaching style to the personality of players. And the skill to adapt your coaching style, I think that makes coaches better. It's not a question of an introvert or extrovert.
Okay. So at the moment, I have not any other questions from chat. I must ask our audience to be more active. Maybe question from myself. So no, there is some question. Henry, would you advise in acting course for coaches to develop their ability to adapt?
Yeah, what I would advise is, and like I said, I think in the beginning, if you look at the current courses we've got on level 1 and level 2, not so much time and pages in the manual is used to explain personalities. And I think if you are dealing with other people, with youngsters or grown-ups, there's always an interaction between personalities, between the player and you as a coach. So I think it would be very good if we could set up something like that, or at least that coaches are start to study more on personalities than they do at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Okay. No raised hands, no questions. So maybe question for myself. No, there is somebody. Yes, Rock. So, floor is yours.
Okay.
Where is your video?
Yes. Did you
Yes.
hear me? Could
Yes,
you hear
yes,
me?
yes.
Okay, I would like to make a question about what about the coaching style during the matches, about in regards to the personality of the players. Would you change this?
Yes, of course. Um, like I think I said it already a little bit in my answer to Yvette Luo, the first one who was asking. If you've got an introverted player and he is playing, and you as a coach are sitting there and you are being very, very, very extrovert, then I think the player on court is not feeling comfortable. So also over there, you need to adapt your coaching style. You know, we are allowed when the rally is finished to say something, and you see different types of coaches. Some of them are shouting, and some of them are just doing like this and say, okay, that's okay, or they do like that. And some of them are talking and talking and talking and talking and talking. What I'm saying is that you can use all those types of coaching, but related to the personality of your player.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, there will be also my question. There is some countries in Europe where coaching during the game is not allowed for young players. Sometimes not allowed at all, sometimes only during interval. What do you think about this? It's good or not good practice?
In some stages of the development of players, I think it could be a very good instrument to avoid coaching. To stimulate players to think themselves. What I'm seeing a lot is that a lot of coaches they want to, let's say, use a player as an instrument and say, okay, you need to do this and this and this, and then you win the match. And so they instruct them to do exactly this, exactly that, and exactly that. And the player don't need to think anymore and is not stimulated to find their own solutions. If you do that, it can have some results on short term, but for sure, when the stress is coming up, when the importance of the result is higher, stress is coming up, then players will not hear you as a coach anymore, because they are so stressed that they are closing up, and then they don't know what to do. So yes, you can use that as an instrument to learn players to find their own solutions. But in the end, I would always go for, let's say, both things. Sometimes, okay, go on court and find your own way. And sometimes, no, I can help you with some kind of things to give them some solutions or to show them a way to solutions.
Thank you. So there is question also from Goran from Sweden. Can you read them? It's a long one. I don't want to.
I usually ask my players to reflect in training, in matches and after matches. This gives me as a coach a better insight of the player's view before my coaching support. What's your view on this? Yes, of course. I think it's very good to ask your players to reflect on what they are doing. But some players, they don't reflect at all. the ones who are very extroverted, they don't reflect. They just go and they see where it ends. But in fact, yeah, it gives you an insight of what on what they think. But maybe it's better to get a conclusion of not on what they are thinking, but how they come to their thoughts. Because if you know how they are getting to those reflections, then you know something about the personality of the players.
Okay, one more question from my own about coaching of players. It was last seminar topic, but so if there is two different players, sometimes it is, then we need to send two different coaches.
No, never.
For interval, for example, or
No.
some.
I think that's I see that a lot, but I think that's very, very bad. Because if you are with two coaches over there, it's and two of them are talking, it's distracting. You can go with two over there, but one should say nothing, and one is taking the lead and is saying something. Don't go for two coaches and two coaches speaking, and one coach is speaking to one player and one coach is speaking to the other player. I think that's not good at all, because you never know what the communication is.
Okay, there is Monica from Latvia. Monica, please.
Yes, hello. I just wanted to add on this two coach situation during the break. I mean, you said also on the top level that there are cases that two coaches come, but then I think it's the matter of how they talk and what they do while standing. So, I mean, I see no problem with practice when there's one coach for each doubles player. So they one talks with one and then the other talks with other, probably also by the reason that they have better connection or understanding with each other. So the coach knows exactly what to say to one and the other knows exactly what to say to the other.
Yeah, I respect your opinion, of course. I also see that these things are happening, but I think it's not making the double better. I think that one coach should do the talking, if he's talking, because I also think that in most cases coaches are talking too much.
Okay, one more question from Latvia, Baiba. She's a coach of squash, as I know. So how about advising during the match? Then one your player is playing against other your player.
I'm not coaching.
But
so if two players of my team are playing each other, I'm not around the court. I'm not coaching.
Of course, you are not in the court, but do you give some advice before?
No, even that. No. That would be not fair to both of the players. This is a situation where they find their own solutions. Like we had a question on no non-coaching at all in certain age groups or in certain tournaments. But you've got over here exactly the same situation. Make your own plan, go on court and make your own conclusion. Yes, of course, after the match, you can sit down with players and say, okay, this and this is what I saw. But before or during the match, no advice at all.
Okay. So any other questions? So where is our experienced coaches from Indonesia, India, very actively participate last seminars. Nishant, where are you?
I'm here. You want me to ask a question?
Yes, we need to
Okay,
provocate all the audience.
Okay, I can ask. Well, many of the time when we go for a tournament and when we see the other kids, when they do mistake, they kick their rackets, they kick the shuttles, they try to break the rackets, and then not respecting their own parents, because sometimes in a younger level, the parents go as a coach and they try to advise them in a match, and then suddenly they get mad. They throw the racket, they throw the shuttle, and they're not listening to the parents. And then sometimes I've seen also that if the coach is also going to make him understand or her understand, then also they're completely out of mind and completely in anger because they're losing, of course. So how to do, I mean, what is your experience, Martijn, that how you will handle this situation, especially with the kids?
For me, that's a long time ago that I had that I was coaching young children. But first of all, I made already clear from the beginning on, when I was working with youngsters, I had my set of rules. If you come to the practice I'm leading or the tournaments where I'm responsible, then I had a set of rules. And of course, when those type of behavior is not part of those rules, and when somebody started to do so, I remember, but that's already many years ago, one of the players was in an international tournament. I think he was 14 years old, something like that. He was throwing his racket. So I went to the court, took him away, did not allow him to finish the match. I said, give the umpire a hand, give the opponent a hand, and we leave. You leave. So everybody was shocked. Everybody was shocked. But from that day on, everybody knew I'm not accepting that kind of behavior. That's my rule. And what you do with your parents or with other coaches, I don't care. But if you are with me, this is how you do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Monica, do you have one more question?
Well, I just wanted to share, if I can share also
Yeah.
my opinion. I agree with Martijn about, I would also stick to the same set of rules or principles and make it clear cut for the especially younger players, what is allowed, what is not, or what is acceptable. I mean, what is this sports conduct or misconduct. But if to answer to the question, if you know, one thing is acceptable is an unacceptable behavior, but the other thing, if I want to bring some information to the player, I mean, discuss something, then definitely I would, as a coach, I would wait and search for the time when the player is able to listen, when he can listen, because obviously if he's not in a mood or under some emotions or some external influences, and I see that there is no point, that he's closed or he's shut down, then of course there's no point to talk or discuss with him something. So also I wanted to add, for example, in my coaching philosophy, I believe that the most important value, of course, it's important to know personality of your players and try to understand him, see who he is, how he acts. how he feels. But most important, I think most valuable thing, the skill, is observation. And also one thing, you know, that, okay, this player is feeling and acting like this, but the other thing is, how can I bring this information as a coach that I want? I don't know, some tactical or technical knowledge I want to pass on. It's important to understand what approach is working or not. And in order to do that, I would have to observe him, how he is responding on different my approaches. Yeah, that was off the topic of it, but yeah.
Yes, of course, you're right. But that's what I'm saying as well. Hey, you need to learn your players in one way or another, and then by experience, you learn how to approach players because they are all different. I want to add something on your saying that, okay, you must find the right time when players are in the mood for some advice or post-match coaching or whatever. Yes, but that's also one set. That's also one part of my set of rules. A post-match evaluation within half an hour. Okay, if you lost, if you lose, if you are mad or whatever, you can go outside, but within 30 minutes, you are with me. If you don't like that, okay, bye.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I also agree with Martin and his philosophy about after match within first 30 minutes for the evaluation. And also I want to make a small comment on when the kids in a younger age, when they try to be very aggressive and they get out of mind in a match and behave like that. And then I don't know how it is, maybe right or wrong, I don't know. But I think that everything starts from the own house, because I think, according to me, maybe it's a parent's responsibility as well from the beginning, how to grow up the kids, because the difference of attitude, the difference of some values, how to be in a society, how to be in a coaching, or maybe in your badminton club, maybe in your team. So I think, according to me, the parents also, they play a big role how to grow up their own kids. It's not just only the work of the coach where how to behave and how to do that. Then it will be more complicated, and it will be more I mean, I can say that then it's kind of a, yeah, but then you will become a parent of a player. That's
absolutely, Nishant. That's, you're right, but yeah, but there's always a but. You're completely right. It's the responsibility of the parents. They are the ones who are doing the education of their kids. But on the other hand, you've got your area, the practice hall, and that's your set of rules. So if somebody comes in, then he has to apply with my set of rules and not the set of rules of the parents. I have known parents who were very, very easy with their children. The children could do everything. They could shout and say bad words to their parents. Hey, wait a moment. If I see that, hey, then you have to come to me. If I see or hear that again, out.
There is also one more question in chat from Goran.
Yeah, I see that. Do you coach your player on his or her skills or advice on the opponent's weak areas? Views on that? I always coach on the skills of my own player. So I'm not coaching from, let's say, the negative points of my opponent, but I always coach from the positive points of the player I'm coaching.
But you can use the negative points, of course.
Of course, but in a positive way.
Yeah.
So, for instance, if I see the opponent is slow to the net, of course you can coach your player by saying, "Hey, play a lot of drop shot because the opponent is slow to the net." You also can say, without speaking about your opponent, keep him in the back and use your fast drop shot. That's a different approach.
Okay, there is no other questions. I think the question from Nishan before was also the potential topic about information exchange about code of ethics for coaches. Maybe some countries have the coaches, some code for coaches as well.
Sorry, say this again.
It's a question also about code of like a code of ethics for coaches, because I don't know about other countries. I think in Latvia we have not our own code for coaches. Maybe there are some traditions in other countries about special conduct for coaches. There is some BWF regulations, I think.
Yeah, but that's more on how to behave on court when you are sitting in the coaching chair. I think there is. We in the Netherlands, at least, we have some guidelines from our National Olympic Committee, and not only some guidelines, also really ethic guidelines on how to deal with youngsters, with let's say young grown-ups and grown-up players. We have some kind of conduct, absolutely, yeah.
Okay. Oh, maybe you have some points.
Yeah, I see that. I've got. I don't know why he's. Savas is sending me privately a question, asking me. Getting good in badminton is practice is 95% physical, 5% mental. But do you agree if that's the other way around? 95% mental and 5% physical. It's difficult, I think, to say in percentages this or this is important, but at least 50% of our activities in coaching is mental, and with mental, I don't mean that you do special mental training, but approaching players in the way they should be approached because they have that kind of personality is already a mental approach. And if we really look back on what we are doing and how we are doing it, then I think that a lot of coaches can make conclusions for themselves with that players. I really could get him or her, and we have a very good relation, and I can work with him very well. And with that other player, it's not working, and another coach is doing better. And that has to do, I think, with how to approach players and how to try to influence them. And that's a part of mental training as well.
Okay. So
I've
also
got-
question from, so do you see another?
I see another one from Puri, also privately. How to relate the year plan with the mentality approach? I'm handling the age category under 15, under 17, under 19. Yeah, I do not see a relation between the year plan and the mentality approach, because I think the mentality approach is an approach what continuously is going on every day, in every practice, in every match. So it has to do with how you deal with your players and how your players are dealing with you every day. So I don't see a relation with a year plan.
Mhm. There will be also a question of my own. I received advice from other coaches some year ago that it's only one obligation for coach during the coaching during the game, to reduce the stress for your player, because he will find your answer himself. What is your advice? How is possible? You'll find the decision, yes, but how to reduce the stress?
Yeah, the question is, do you want to reduce the stress? Because I think every player needs stress to come to result. If there is no stress, then there's also no will to win. So you need a little bit stress.
Okay, but if you see that stress is too much.
If the stress is too much, but then we come to let's say mental instruments to get the stress down. But I think by working with the player in the right way, as I explained over the last, let's say, 30 minutes, then you will see that there will be not so much mental problems as well in the end, because they know how they need to act. They feel comfortable. They have trust in what they do themselves. They have trust in you as a coach, and then probably there will be hardly any stress moment.
Okay, there is also a question from our chat, somebody from iPhone. How important is your opinion of a pre-talk before a match? So no, how important is your opinion? Yes, a pre-talk before a match. And on that, and what are you focusing on?
Yeah, I explained that already with different. Let's see where it is. Yeah. I think pre-match coaching, pre-match coaching it's quite important. But I am not focusing always on exactly the same thing. If with extrovert players, I focus on a simple match plan, but an introvert player, I give him possibilities. So my focus is completely different. If I go to a more sensing player, I give variations. Intuition player, I give possibilities to vary. So the focus is not always the same. The focus is depending on what type of players we have. I hope this is the right answer for Mr. iPhone or Mrs. iPhone.
Okay, maybe we will receive answer in chat about this. So I want to remind that we have 10 minutes left from our seminar end.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, yes, very nice.
Yeah, can I have a question, please?
Yes, of course.
Martin, no, okay. Sometimes if you're coaching the match is obviously is one side. It doesn't matter what you do; they are better, much better. Your opponent is much better than what you are coaching for. It's one side, and it's players found the solutions. Then every sort of department of a game, so your opponent is stronger than the players what you have got. So what you normally say or do to get sort of the players be focused and keep fighting on the court.
Yeah. Yes, that's a difficult one, a one-sided match. If you know that already, sometimes you know that already before the match. But then you sit down with your players and say, okay, wait a moment, let's be realistic. Okay, of course we will try, no problem, we will try. But let's be realistic. So we want to go for some kind of, let's say, short-term successful things. If you could make in a way a point, that's already very good. Or if you say, okay, let's try to be at the break with 11, let's try to be not more than 5 points behind, something like that. Or in doubles, let's try to make the third stroke in the service situation always going down or going to the net. And then in the break, you come back and, hey, wait a moment. Yeah, we are not up. Probably we are losing, but you had success over there. You had success over there. So try to find successful small things in the game and give them confidence to try that again, and give them a little bit of advice. Okay, and try to make a variation like this or like that. And then, of course, between the rallies, if they do it well, hey, okay, that's good. And maybe they did not make the point, but they tried to do it. That's also already very good. Because when there's a big difference in standard between two players, then it's so difficult for one player to make a successful action. So even already trying is okay in that case.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Now we are 5 minutes left from our end of seminar. So, any questions? Sorry. So, maybe we have, yes, Ivan. Ivan, we can also discuss about your offer, about ideas for next seminars.
Yes, okay. First of all, I want to ask somebody of you for opinion on my question. We have different types of the coaches, and for example, we get the new job in some academy, national teams, or somewhere, and what is in your opinion, which style is better? I want to choose just two types. For example, first one, which one you are come with the soft rules, really nice person in front of the players, and try to be more and more strict, or you are a strict man who have a lot of rules and come in front of the players and try to be more and more soft, depend on the players. Why I'm asking about this one? Because I saw in many clubs, especially here in Thailand, I'm already 8 years here, the styles of many coaches here is that they are really, really soft when they start to work with the players. And after that, they cannot control them anymore. And then somebody who is like a head coach in this hall or this club, or president of the club or technical director or somebody who control them, is really, really bad situation for all of them, because how to get the responsibilities and that somebody believe in these coaches again, and that they have the rules again in front of the players, they put them in the rule again, if they don't have the rule when they start to work from the beginning. I talk about the friendly, where is distance, how to make the distance between the player and the coaches, where is this board, which one they cannot pass. I hope you understand my question is short. I can talk more about this one, but this is just short.
You're asking me?
Yeah, you have the most experience here in the coaching, so
the first thing I would say is be yourself. So when you start a new job, be yourself. Like I said already, yeah, I've got some set of rules. So I handle that set of rules everywhere. And those are sometimes those rules are very strict. I like to start if the practice is from 8 till 10, I like to start at 8, not 5 minutes past 8. So yeah, that's my rule. I will be in the hall half an hour before. So I expect the players to start their warming up a 7:45.
okay, but for example, you have a club. Okay, you have a club.
Yeah.
And in the club you have 40 kids, and you invite the coach to come to be a coach in your club. And this coach normally is good coach. Everybody know about him. But he came in the club and he wants to be so friendly, so kind with the players. And after that, they understand that they can do almost whatever they want. They don't have the rules. And you, like a head coach or somebody who control all of this, you see this one. You will go to try to talk with the players and coach together to make because I'm thinking if you have somebody who is soft, don't have the rules, and give to the kids, to everybody, that they can work whatever they want. But no, like, for example, you was before the head coach inside. Yeah. And after this, you take somebody after you and who is different kind of the coaches, how you will try to connect this player and the coaches that they continue to rise in this one where you stop.
Yeah, you mean I'm the head coach and somebody else is doing in a club, and I'm the head coach of the club and somebody else comes and yeah, I'm not going to sit down with the players. I'm going to sit down with the coach and say, hey, wait a moment. But I think already we made already a mistake before he started, because if I hire, if let's say as a national coach I had assistant coaches, but they knew exactly when they started how I wanted to do things. It does not mean that my rules are always the complete set of rules. Because if you have an assistant coach, then of course he must also have some kind of space to do his thing. But in the end, if you want to go to the target, you can go straight like this, or you can go up like that, but you come at the target. And that's the important thing, I think. But if it's really if players are starting to do what they like, yeah, then I think you are the wrong way.
Okay.
and I think the better the players are becoming, there is no one set of rules anymore. Every player has his own set of rules. I can imagine that one player who is some players, you have to kick them every time to be in time, and some players, they are always in time. So for some players, it's allowed that they sometimes are coming too late, because they do their best to be in time. And for some players, it's never allowed to be too late.
Thank you.
Sorry, also Nishant want to add some comments about this question.
Okay.
I know the situation what Ivan has asked, because this is I really understand, because this happens all the way in Asia. Yeah, but I think drawing the line is very important with all the kids, players, and also the parents, because according to me, one of the rule I was having is, like, I don't like to meet anybody from the badminton after the badminton practice. So I keep my badminton and my personal things all the different way. And then when I was on a coach, like when I'm on a court, I like to drive, but as you said, the situation where the coaches and the players, they get really well, they jungle with them, and then the things goes wrong. Perhaps I would like to talk the coach separately and some players separately, because if you call them all together, then it will be next level messed up. So to avoid that, I think the general meetings are really important. And also, yes, I mean, it is upon you that how you maintain the relationship with the players. And then if you're going a bit close also, for some players, for example, yeah, like personally also I've helped some of the players because they were in trouble sometimes. Like sometimes I also went with some players for a dinner and some, sometimes out here and there, but I think they never went out of my words. I kept them in control. When I'm on the court, I'm your boss. That's it.
Okay, thank you very much for all participants. Martin, can you take a few words for closing?
Yeah, what should I say? I think this, for me, this is quite an interesting subject, personality and coaching. I also, for me, it was not easy at all. It was sometimes very, very difficult. But I think I learned a lot just by trying and trying.
Okay, thank you for your experience and your presentation. And thank you very much for all participants. See you next week. We will announce about next topics. Thank you very much.